Good morning, students. In today's class of service marketing, we'll continue with the topic that we was discussing in the previous class, that is consumer decision making process for services. So when we are making a consumer decision for buying services, we go through the consumer decision making process, and we should understand this consumer decision making process so that we can understand what are the ways in which the consumers take a decision to buy a service. So once we know the process, or the way the consumers take decisions in purchasing of services, we can make our marketing strategy, our service marketing mix shaped in order to cater to the various needs of the consumers and try to attract more consumers to buy the services. So in the previous class, we have discussed about this diagram. So this is the complete process by which the consumer decision making process takes place in case of services. So first, we have discussed the pre-purchase stage, and today's class will discuss the service encounter stage and the post-purchase stage. What happens in pre-purchase stage? Whenever the service consumer wants to buy a service, then he has to go through the all the three stages. In the pre-purchase stage, first the consumer must have certain need, or some need should be there, because this need will be triggering the desire to make a decision towards buying a service. So need acts as a catalyst. Needs and expectation of the consumers, unfulfilled needs and expectation of the consumer acts as a catalyst, or acts as this need arousal acts as a catalyst for the consumers to take a decision regarding buying a service. So once the consumer, there is need arousal and the consumer is aware of the needs, and he wants to satisfy these needs by purchase of certain services, then the consumer feels that he needs to take a decision to buy a particular service or not. So when there is awareness and there is arousal of need and there is awareness of need by the customer, then the customer engages in what is known as information search. The customer engages in understanding the needs what is that he's having, by defining the needs and understanding how these needs can be satisfied, then exploring various solutions that is available to the customer to satisfy these needs, identifying the various alternative service suppliers. This is very important because there is a lot of alternatives by which the need of the service consumer can be satisfied. So there are various alternative service suppliers who provide the similar kind of services that can satisfy the need of the consumer. Here the consumer has to decide which service supplier alternative he has to choose. Here we have to understand that there is certain things known as search attributes, credence attributes, and experience attributes that shape the information search of the consumers. When we say search attributes, these attributes are something which can be, before purchase, this can be analyzed. These are known as search attributes. Experience attributes are those attributes this can be understood when a particular service is experienced. And credence attributes refers to those attributes that even after sometimes the consumers experience the service, he or she is not sure whether the service was of better quality or good quality or not. So these are known as credence attributes. The services are mostly having this experience and credence attributes, whereas goods are very much having search attributes. And why the information search is very important for the customers, why the customers has to evaluate and identify the alternative service suppliers, because there is a perceived risk that is attached with the purchase of services. When we say perceived risk, because perceived risk refers to the loss which the consumers perceive, that if they buy a wrong service, they will face the loss, the injury, the wastage, the dissatisfaction that they will face if they buy a wrong service. So this is known as perceived risk. In services, the perceived risk is generally high because they don't want to buy something which is unknown to them. So they highly depend on evaluation of various service suppliers, information search, and evaluation of various alternative service suppliers in order to reduce this perceived risk. So how can they reduce this perceived risk? They review the documentation, example, advertising brochures, websites. They go through the various advertising brochures, websites, review various documents in order to understand the alternative service suppliers, also to reduce the percentage. Similarly, they consult other people, example friends, family, other customers. So they generally take the advice or guidance from these people, consultation from these people, and they also visit, if possible, they also visit the service suppliers or the service facility or the service provider who will be giving them the services, and speak to the various personnel about the process by which the service will be given. So this gives them an idea how far the service will be able to satisfy their needs. So in a way, they try to gather this physical evidence regarding the service. This is the quality of the service. So because they do not know the service, so they will evaluate the alternative service suppliers and try to decide which is better for them. While understanding the concept of information search, we also understand that information search from external sources or internal sources. Internal sources means the sources of from the consumer, the past experiences the consumer has regarding the particular service supplier. So that is the internal source, and the external source are the personal sources, family, relatives. Then comes public sources, that is newspaper, magazines. Then comes experimental sources, that is by observing or taking trial of a particular service. And then also it comes commercial services like salespeople, service providers, point of displays, dealers, those who are giving this service. So all these things, they go through this to get a proper information search, and they also evaluate the various alternative service suppliers in order to reduce the percentage. More often it is seen that the customer service consumers, they want to stick with the service provider with whom they have taken the service previously, because it reduces the chances of the service quality gap, and they're much more happy with the service. So after evaluating, going through awareness of the need, information search, and then evaluating the alternative service supplier, the service consumer is finally at a point where they can decide out of all the alternatives available to them, which alternative is best suiting to their needs and which can satisfy their needs. So then they'll finally decide that this is the service supplier from which they are going to take the avail the service. Then comes the service encounter stage. So in today's class, we start with the service encounter stage. So what happens in service encounter stage? This is the second stage of the purchase process model in the service encounter, which is the actual interaction point where the customer, between the customer and the service provider. So what happens during the service encounter stage? So this is the second stage, and in this stage, this is the first place where this customer and the service provider comes face to face. They interact, and where the customer wants to justify or explain the need that he's having and why he's availing the service, and the service provider assures and understands how this need for this particular need of the customer can be better satisfied. So here actual interaction takes place between the customer and the service provider. After deciding a purchase of a specific service, the customers experience one or more contacts with the chosen service provider. So in the previous stage, that is the pre-purchase stage, they have decided that they will go with a particular service supplier. So once they decide upon a particular service supplier or service provider, they will contact with the service provider, with the chosen service provider, and have interaction or contact with them in order to decide how they are going to make the specific service purchase. The service encounter stage often begins with submitting an application, requesting a reservation, or placing an order. So whenever there is a service encounter stage, it starts with generally submitting of an application, where the consumer submits an application stating that they want a particular service or particular service. So if we take the example of like if you want to avail this new service, broadband service, this fiber, geo fiber service, then you have to online, you have to go and then you have to submit your request or requesting a reservation. So if you are going to a particular spa or you are going to a particular salon, then you need to reserve a particular place, and sometimes you also have to place an order, like when you want to have a particular pizza, or you have to then you have to place an order for the pizza. So these are the various ways in service encounter stage, where it starts with the submitting of an application or requesting of a reservation or placing of an order. The service encounter stage starts. Then the contacts may take the form of personal exchanges between the customers and the service employees, or impersonal interaction with machines or computers. So this interaction that takes place in the service encounter stage, they can be either personal or impersonal. If personal means they directly discuss this with the service provider, chosen service provider, employees or personnel, or in impersonal interactions, they interact with the machine or a computer. So if you go to we want to withdraw money from a particular ATM, so here we also encounter as there is a service encounter stage, but here we contact the service provider not by personally but impersonally, by interacting with the various machines or computers. So in this way, contacts takes place through personally and impersonally in the service encounter stage. This is something we have to understand. Then what happens in high contact services such as restaurants, healthcare, hotels, and public transportations? These are the places where there is high contact services, because here the customers get much more contact with the service personnel or the service provider. Here the customers may experience a variety of elements during the service delivery, each of which has a potential to provide clues to service quality. So when we enter into a particular restaurant, by looking at the ambience, by looking at the decor, the setting, the arrangement, the way the food is being served to other customers, we can get an idea whether the service that we are going to receive in the particular hotel will be of a good quality or not. Similarly, if we go to public transportation, or we take healthcare services, by looking at the way the service is being delivered to other customers, we can get an idea, potentially I will get idea or clues about the service quality. So in high contact services such as restaurants, healthcare, hotels, and public transport, customers experience a variety of elements during the service delivery, and these elements that are provided in the high contact services, they get the clues regarding the quality of the service that they are going to receive. So it is very important that the service environment should be properly managed. So what are service environments? Service environments include all those tangible characteristics to which customers are exposed. So in the previous example, when I was telling, when we are going to a particular restaurant and we see the restaurants, the sitting, the decor, the arrangement, the lighting, the way the food is being delivered, how the whole process is been set up. So this is the service environment under in these are the tangible characteristics, because these things people can see, people can touch, and people can get an idea how far these tangible characteristics of the service environment, they are exposed to the consumers. And by gauging or by looking into this service environment or these tangible characteristics of the service environment, the customers are in a point, they get a clue, and as a point where they can decide the type of or the quality of the service that they're going to get by availing the service from the particular service provider. That is the reason service environments are very important, and they should be managed in a proper way. The certain service environment examples are given: the appearance of a building, exterior and interior, how the building appears. If it is very beautiful, very properly maintained, then we feel that the service will be of good quality. On the other hand, if the appearance of the building is not good and if it's not properly maintained, we feel that the service will not be of a good quality. The nature of furnishings and equipments used, the kind of equipment used, the way the furnishings are, they install the confidence in the minds of the consumers, that telling that they are going to receive very good quality of service. Similarly, the presence or absence of dirt, odor, or noise. This particularly in case while we're booking of a hotel or we're going to a restaurant, then or you're going to a healthcare for taking any healthcare services, we also see the presence of dirt, odor, and noise, to see that whether the service will be of good quality or not. Similarly, the appearance and the behavior of other customers can also serve the shape the expectations and perceptions of service quality. Similarly, not only the appearance but also the behavior of other customers, because when we are going to take or avail a service, suppose we are going into a particular healthcare service to take avail the healthcare services and feel some disgruntled or customers, or find that the customers are not happy with the service, their behavior is not good, they are in a very aggressive modes, and uh, complaining about the service quality to the service personnel or the healthcare employees, healthcare doctors and other nurses and other people who are providing these health services, then we can get, the customer can get an idea through this that how far the service will be of good quality. But whereas when he goes to a particular healthcare to avail these healthcare services, and he sees that the people those who have taken the healthcare services from that particular hospital are happy, and they are praising the doctors and the way the hospital is maintained, how far the equipment are good, and how far the doctor are skilled, then it installs or shapes the expectations and perceptions of service quality in the minds of the service customers. So the service environment plays a very crucial role in shaping the expectations and perceptions of the customer in case of about the service quality. Then we have to understand that not only the service environment but also the service personnel or the people who will deliver the service actually to the customers are very important, because service personnel are the most important factor in most high contact service encounters where they are direct face-to-face interaction with customers. So when in high contact services where there is a need to face the customers directly, and face-to-face interaction is required with the customers, in those cases the service personnel has to have a proper behavior, sorry, proper behavior and proper way in which they should conduct themselves. They should be very courteous, and they should be able to explain the doubts, whatever problems the consumers are facing. So the way the service personnel handle the customers is very important, because this is mostly possible in case of high contact services like restaurants, hotels, public transport, healthcare services. But there are certain services there where there is not very high a contact is required, like withdrawing money from an ATM. So in those cases, it will be different. So the role of service personnel is not there, because here the service is being delivered by a particular machine or equipment that has been designed to deliver the service. But where the service personnel directly come in contact with the customers, they need to face the customers directly. They have to interact with the customers, and then it is very important that the service personnel should be properly trained regarding the service delivery. Then, but they can also affect the service delivery in low contact situations like telephone based service delivery. Not only in a high contact service encounter, sometimes in many cases low contact situations like telephone based delivery, service delivery, where you they by telephone you get the service, you avail the service and you get the service. If the behavior of the customers is not good, then also it creates problems. So mostly in high contact services, and in some cases in low contact services, wherever the service personnel needs to contact the customer directly, it is important to see that the service personnel is properly trained to handle the questions of the customers and able to negotiate and deal with the customers. Knowledgeable customers often expect employees to follow specific scripts during the service encounter. Excessive deviations from these scripts can lead to dissatisfaction. So the service personnel are sometimes also given certain scripts or certain way in which they should be dealing with the customers. So knowledgeable customers though means those customers have already availed the service from the particular service provider. They know the particular script that the service company will be following, that the service delivery person or the service supply person will be the service provider will be going through the particular script, and will be asking the questions in order to ensure that the service is of good quality. So these knowledgeable customers, they often know this kind of specific scripts or the way in which the service personnel generally interact, so during the service encounter stage. So if there is excessive deviation from these scripts, if they find that the service personnel is not sticking to the scripts, or they find that the service personnel is not giving the service as per the norms, then this may lead to dissatisfaction. They may feel that the service quality has deteriorated than it was previously, when it was good, now it has deteriorated. So these knowledgeable customers, they often expect the employees to follow a particular script, and if they don't follow this particular script and don't tread through this script, then it will lead to dissatisfaction in the minds of the customers. Handling service encounters effectively on the part of the employee usually combines learned skills with the right type of personality. So these service personnel in order to handle this service encounter effectively on the part of the employee, on the part of the service supply, usually combines learned skills and the right type of personnel. The two things are required by the service personnel in order to see that the service that they are going to deliver or the kind of interaction they are going to make with the customers, that will be of good quality. First is the learned skills. Some things are taught, the way in which they have to deal with customers, to deal with angry or disgruntled customers or dissatisfied customers. And apart from that, the type of personality they are having. If they are not very patient, if they are very aggressive, then they will not be able to handle the service customers properly. So it is a combination of both the learned skills and the right type of personality that the service personnel has. It helps in dealing the customers much more properly. Then, apart from the personnel and the environment, service environment, there are also support services, which is very important in the, and play a very important part in the service encounter stage. When we say support services are made up of the materials and equipments plus all of the backstage processes that follow front stage employees to do their work properly. So this is very important. Please understand this. So whenever the service is given, there is a front stage employees and there is a backstage employees. So what happens? What are the front stage employees? These are the face of the organization. These are the face of the service organization. They directly come in contact with the customers. So these are the front stage employees. So in order to see that these front stage employees work properly, there are certain backstage employees and processes that should be functioning properly. What are these backstages or the support services? These are all the materials and the equipments and all the backstage processes. These are all part of the support services. So the kind of materials used for delivering the service, the kind of equipments used for delivering the service. So what are the various backstages processes that the service provider has to follow in order to see that the service is of good quality. These are all consisting of the support services. So the support services are made up of materials, equipment plus of all the backstage processes that allow the front stage employees, that is the service provider, to do their work properly. So the support services has to be taken care properly. This element is critical because many customer contact employees cannot perform their jobs well without receiving internal services from support personnel. Similarly, so in many services it is found that the front stage employees or the service providers will not be able to do their work properly if they do not receive these internal services from support personnel properly. Suppose when there is a food delivery application is there like Zomato, the service provider will be the person who will be delivering the product to the service to you by delivering the food to your doorstep. So he's the front stage employee, but there is a lot of backstage processes and backstage support personnel who help him. The person who has taken the order, the person who has processed the order, how the billing has been done, whether it has been properly done or not. So all these things. Suppose if there is a mistake in the order, if the person who is taking the order has taken it by mistake wrong, or the quantity has been taken as wrong, or certain item or certain particular has been missed out, left out by the person taking the order, then this will create confusion. And the front end employees or the front stage employees or the service deliverer or the service or the in this case the service delivery person, the delivery boy or the will not be able to provide the service as per the satisfaction or need of the consumer. The consumer may feel that he is not satisfied with the service because whatever he or she has ordered has not been delivered properly. So to see that the front end or the front stage employees work properly and able to deliver the services as per the satisfaction and needs of the customers, it is very important to understand the role of the support personnel or the internal services that they're having. It is very crucial to understand the support services. A primary responsibility of support services is to provide the equipment and supplies needed to perform the service. So what are the equipment and the supplies needed to perform the service? Suppose if you are ordering pizza and the equipment that is required is to keep the pizzas hot, the hot boxes or the bags in which the hot packages can be kept, if it is not properly functioning or the supplies of this is not good, the kind of quality of this hot packages is not put. So the pizza that is being delivered will be very cold, and the customers who has given the order for the particular pizza will not be satisfied with the service received. So it is the primary responsibility of the support services to see that the equipment and the supplies needed to perform the service better should be properly given to the support services should be given to the front stage employees or the service providers directly, so that the service will be of a proper quality and should satisfy the needs of the consumers. Example, for a dentist, the support, we have taken the example of food ordering. We can also take another example to clarify your doubts or any doubts you are having. Suppose for a dentist, the support service are the dental hygienist, the chairside assistant, and the receptionist. So all these people are very important because they will be also dealing with the customers, and they will help or assist the dentist in giving a proper services. Because if the dental hygienist does not provide the service properly, if the chair side assistant is not able to maneuver the chair properly, and the receptionist is not able to handle the customers or the patients properly, then the dentist, who is the service provider, will not be able to give the service properly. So it is very important to understand the role of the support services in delivery of services in the service encounter stage. Then another thing we have to see that sometimes other customers also impact the service experience. So not only that the customer will get physical evidence from this service environment, the support services, the service personnel, sometimes even the customers who are present at the service facility taking availing the service also impact the service experience of other people who are there to take the service. Let us understand this. When consumers use people or mental stimulus processing services, they often find themselves in close proximity to other customers. So generally customers use people processing or mental stimulus processing services. When we look or observe people and then understand how far they are satisfied and whether the service will be of good quality, and then we find themselves in close proximity of other customers, then we will observe those customers, and we will analyze the uh, satisfaction the other customers are getting, and try to get an understanding how far the service quality will be. For example, in waiting rooms at a medical clinic may be filled with other patients. Unfortunately, some of these other customers occasionally behave badly, thus detracting from the service experience. So when we are in a service, when we are in a hospital or a clinic, and we find that the people who are already having patients, and these patients are disgruntled, are not happy with the service they have received, then we automatically think that the service that we are going to receive will be all of bad quality, because it will detract us from the service experience that we are expecting, and we will feel that we will also receive a very bad quality of service. So these other customers should be handled properly to see that the service quality is not hampered. So the company must anticipate such incidents and have contingency plan in place for to see how to deal with the different types of problems that might occur. So this is also very important. So the service company should be able to uh, handle, anticipate this kind of incident that is going to happen, and make changes or devise plans to handle this kind of situations, to see that this kind of situations don't happen, because this kind of situations or incidents detract the customer from the service experience. And then the service encounter stage or the service encounter has major implication on customers satisfaction evaluations. Why this is important to understand, to manage this service personnel, the service environment, the support services, the behavior of other customers, because this service encounter has a very great implication or implication on the customer satisfaction evaluation. The customers generally depend on this service encounter experience in order to evaluate the kind of satisfaction they are going to receive from the service. That is the reason it is important to handle the service encounter stage. Since any incident that might happen during a service encounter stage will be fully experienced by other customers, and it will be sometimes difficult to rectify a problem. So what happens? So if during the service encounter stage, the people are not, people feel that the service is of not good quality, it is very difficult sometimes to rectify the problems. And what happens is that the customer is detracted from the service experience and they don't feel that the service is of good quality. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to rectify the problem. So the service encounter stage has to be properly handled, because this impacts or shapes the customer satisfaction evaluations of the service consumers. Of course, there are always possibility to compensate the customers in some ways. Always, it is not that when there is an incident, any kind of incident that in the service encounter stage that detracts the customer from the service experience, there are possibilities where we can also compensate the consumer in some ways. Suppose if we take that up, you are going to a particular restaurant and you are ordering a particular dish and it is not of good quality, or you find that it is undercooked, then you can raise a complaint. You can tell that the quality of the food that you are received is not good. Then the manager of the hotel may replace the dish in case of a or sometimes also offer refunds or complimentary drinks or other things can be given in order to compensate the problem that they are having. So the customers may in fact be much more happier and feel that okay, now even though he was having certain quality issues with the service, but this has been properly mitigated and properly handled, so he will be happy with the service that he finally receives and he will come back or for repeat purchases. So this is very important. The service encounters is seen as a very important step in shaping the customer's perceptions of the service received, and is often referred to as the firm's moment of truth. So thus the service encounter is very important, and this will tell us uh, how the customer's perception of the service is received or shaped, and also these service encounter stage is also known as the moments of truth. So this is the complete service encounter stage. Now coming to post purchase, this is the third stage of the purchase process, is the post purchase phase. During the post purchase phase, the customers continue a process they began in the service encounter stage. What is the thing? Evaluating service quality, their satisfaction or dissatisfaction with the service experience. So after making the purchase, after post purchase stage, also in post purchase stage, the customers still they evaluate the service quality in order to see whether they are satisfied or dissatisfied with the service experience. The outcome of the process will affect the future intentions, such as whether to remain loyal to a provider that delivered the service, or whether to pass on positive or negative recommendations to family or other associates. Why this during this post purchase evaluation, in the post purchase stage, the customers, when they do evaluation regarding the service quality, this is very important that they should be satisfied, because this will in a way shape the future intentions of the service customers. Sometimes if they are not satisfied, if they're satisfied, they will become loyal to the particular service provider, and they will that has delivered the service, and they'll pass positive word of mouth comments to other family members and associates. But whenever the service that is being received is not of much good quality, or they are not satisfied with the service, then they will try to pass on this negative recommendation. So it is very important to understand the post purchase stage. Customers evaluate service quality by expecting what they expected with what they perceived they received. So they will try to weigh out the benefits with the risk. What they'll do, they'll compare that what is the expectation they had with the service provider, and how far that service provider was able to satisfy their needs, by understanding what they have received in the service delivery stage. So what happens in post-purchase stage? If the expectations are met or exceeded, they believe that the service they have received is of high quality service. Obviously, when the persons who are service customers, they receive, feel that their expectations are met, or these expectations are exceeded, the service quality is much more than what they expected, then they believe that the service they have received is of a high quality. Whereas if the price quality relationship is acceptable and other situational or personal factors are positive, then the customers are likely to be satisfied. Similarly, if the price to quality ratio or the relationship is acceptable for the customers, if the customers feel it is value for money, that whatever value they have received for the money they have paid, and the other personal fact or situational factors. Maybe on that day, while receiving the service customer was in a very good mood, or what the personal factors, it has positive relationship with past positive relations with the service providers. All these things, if it is there, then the customers are likely to be satisfied. As a result, they are more likely to come for repeat purchases and become loyal customers. So whenever the expectations are met or exceeded, whenever the value for money or price quality relationship is acceptable to the customers, whenever certain situational and personal factors are positive and the customers, they feel satisfied, then they will become loyal to the particular service company and they will come for repeat purchases. However, if the service experience does not meet the customer's expectations, they may complain about the poor service quality, suffer in silence, or switch service provider in the future. So this is very important to understand. Whenever the service expectations are met or exceeded, they are satisfied, they are loyal, then they come for repeat purchases. That is okay. But whenever they are what they are perceived, what they have received, they are perceived in service is not matching their expectations, then they may complain about. They can take three ways in which to deal with this dissatisfaction. They may either complain about the service quality, which is good because now we understand why the customers are facing the problems, where the customers are facing problems, and where the service quality has to be improved. Or they may suffer in silence. They may, since they consider to be a part of the service delivery, they sometimes they don't feel that there is a need for complaining and they suffer in silence. Or sometimes they also switch the service provider in the future. So sometimes they, when they feel that the service of not good quality or the service is not as per the expectation of the customer, they may also switch the service provider and they will not avail the service from the particular service provider. So this is very bad. So we have to understand the best opportunities that the service customers should complain about the service quality, because this gives an opportunity for the service company to amend his mistakes and give proper service to the customers. So this is very important. In post-purchase services, all the activities and experience that follow the purchase are included in the post-purchase behavior. So whatever the activities and experience that follow after the customers makes the decision to buy a particular or have made a purchase, this behavior comes under the post-purchase behavior. Usually after making a purchase, consumer experience post-purchase dissonance. What happens? Sometimes after making a purchase, the customers feel that the service they have received is not proper, the quality is not good, so it will lead to post purchase dissonance. This is very difficult and this should be handled properly, this post purchase dissonance. What is this post purchase dissonance? They sometimes regret the decisions of purchase decisions they have made. It is mainly because it mainly occurs due to large number of alternatives available, good performance of alternatives, and attractiveness of alternatives. Sometimes after receiving the service from the chosen service provider, they feel that the service from the chosen service provider is not good. They feel that there were a lot of alternatives available and they could have availed the services from any other alternative service provider, and they have done a mistake. There must be post-purchase dissonance in the minds of the customers. Why? Because there are a large number of alternatives already available, or where the good performance of alternatives or attractiveness of alternatives is there. So the persons who are taking the purchase, the service customers, may feel a kind of post-purchase dissonance. So what can be done in order to remove this post-purchase dissonance? The marketers sometimes need to assure the customers, the consumers, that the choice made by them is the right one. So the first thing we can do is to assure the customer that the choice they have made in purchasing a particular service is very right. It is not wrong. So this can be done in order to, by the marketers, in order to reduce this post-purchase dissonance. This seller can also, what they can do, the seller or this service providers can also mention the highlights or the important features and attributes and benefits of the service to address and solve their concerns, if any. So they will service person, this service company provider, they will tell the customers the various important benefits, attributes they are going to get from this service, and how this service, if at all there is certain problems are there, how to solve this problem, these concerns. This will also be dealt by the service seller or the service provider. Firms can also provide extensive post-purchase support or reinforcing the wisdom of the customer's purchase decisions. So they can also provide this post-purchase support to the service consumers, stating that they have taken a very right decisions, they are with the best service that is being offered in the market. This will help in reinforcing their wisdom of the customer's purchase decision. So they will feel that yes, they have taken a right decision by choosing the particular service provider. A high level of post-purchase dissonance is negatively related to the level of satisfaction which the customers draws out of the service usage. So what happens, it is very important because this post-purchase dissonance will negatively affect the satisfaction of the consumers, that the consumer satisfaction that the consumer derives or draws from the service usage. That is the reason this post-purchase dissonance has to be handled properly. To reduce this post-purchase dissonance, consumer may sometimes even return or exchange the product or service. So what happens, in order to cope with this dissonance, sometimes the consumers, they often return or exchange the product or service product. The firm's ability to manage the dissatisfaction and dissonance is not only a key of creating satisfaction. So one of the ways in order to satisfy the customer is to manage this dissonance, post-purchase dissonance, but this is not the whole way in which they can handle, but this is one of the ways in which the post-purchase dissonance can be handled. But also major influences on the customer's intentions to spread positive word of mouth information beyond the service company, and also return for repeat purchases. So what will happen, not only it will impact the satisfaction of the customer, but it will have impact on the customer's intentions of spreading positive word of mouth. So if there is a post-purchase dissonance is there, sometimes it will lead to negative word of mouth. They will not be telling positive information about the company or the experience they are having to other people. So this is also very difficult for the service company. And finally, they may also not return for repeat purchases. Thus, service marketers must closely follow the customer response during this stage, that is the post-purchase stage, and monitor the service performance and its ability to meet the customer's expectations. So they must try to reduce this post-purchase dissonance. They'll try to reinforce the wisdom of the customers, that they've taken the right decision by choosing this service. So this should be done in order to see that the expectations of the customers are properly met. So in today's class, we have discussed another two stages, that is the service encounter stage and the post-purchase stage, and how these stages has to be handled. And so by concluding the post-purchase stage, we have understood the complete consumer decision-making process for services. Please go through the video, please go through the note that I will be providing you digitally. If you have any doubts, no need to panic, contact me. And finally, thank you for your attention.